going to repeat the 9-course thing? Are we doing the 1-course thing and then the 2 follow-ups, or these are guest events, or are these little courses on their own? So I think having that clear would help me own it.
Okay. So the 3-hour event is a workshop called the Heart Shift.
Okay.
And I do sell the quantum shift at that event.
Okay.
So it does have a secondary intention. But when I do the quantum shift, I'm going to already have laid the groundwork for whatever's next. And I'll invite people to do that also.
God.
Okay? So unless something changes, we don't have anything that we regard as a guest event or a introduction or an enrollment event. Okay, does that help, Joanne?
Yes.
So, I mean, clearly, and now I just need to check in because maybe I'm completely off. But clearly, the Heart Shift is loaded with distinction. Do you not agree?
I do agree. I think what I see in that is more like a little taste of things rather than a meal. So maybe that's where I didn't think that was an event on its own. Because you do pack a lot in there, but you always pack a lot.
So then do you think for it to be a more successful workshop, I should take something out?
Let me review that. Or next Thursday, is our call from 7 to 9? Because
yeah, it'll be the same. I'll have you on as I'm leading the event, and hopefully the event will have more depth this time than it did the last time and the time before, like that it gets deeper and deeper.
And I will listen from.
Yeah, listen from there. Rasha says no, and not that you shouldn't look anyway, but she's usually the one pulling things out. So I have some confidence in if she thinks it should stay in. But I want you to see it too, Joanne, and get your own feel for that. Okay, so welcome, Rasha, welcome, and Robert, welcome. Thank you guys for being here. So last week, I asked that we take on the assignment, and the assignment was to be the giver and receiver of love and express our true self to everybody, no matter what. So that was the game. And I asked you to notice if one thing starts to arise out of the 3 that we've been practicing. Are you following me?
Yeah.
So I'd like to hear from you as to what you did, what you didn't do, what happened, your experience, any of that, and then I'll share mine. Oh, we got a little box shot there, Robert.
A little what?
Box, B-O-X. We got a little box shot. Your camera went down to your private area. I don't know. Maybe nobody calls it a box anymore. Back in my day, we called it a box.
I thought that was actually a white box.
We'd say, oh, nice box.
Well, at least tonight I've got pants on.
Hey, and then we went on to nicely packed, bag boy.
That is just so wrong.
Wrong. Oh my God, it's so wrong and it's recorded.
I have a question. Are women's private parts called a box?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Robert knew that one. He's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And since we don't pack, what's the question for that?
Well, it depends.
Okay.
Well, I guess we know how this week went, Thomas.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So I'll go. So
Change topic.
for me, what was interesting this week is I really grappled with. So I guess I'm a week behind because this is kind of what we were looking at the previous week as well, of the qualities and what gets in the way. So for me, I've been really seeing how my anger and impatience draw away from generosity, being caring, like the three qualities that
So anger and what was the other one?
impatience.
Anger and impatience.
Mm.
So when anger and impatience are dominant,
Mm-hmm.
what
writing that.
what is your focus on that those emotions are dominant? Does this make sense what I'm asking you?
I think so.
Okay.
And what I'm seeing is impatience breeds impatience for me. So I like focus on my impatience, and it like more of it just shows up like.
Okay. So I'm focused on, say, the very next word, not the whole sentence. I'm focused on
Impatience or
Yeah.
I'm focused on irritation and impatience.
Yeah. But what you said was it perpetuates itself because I'm focused on my impatience and whatever. So the key word there is my.
Yes.
So would it be fair to say, everybody, that when we get overly self-focused, it could drive up anger and whatever the other thing is that you said?
I say yes. I said irritation and impatience.
Yeah, annoyance is what it
Yeah.
is for me. I knew it was the same world, but you said it differently. Irritation. Yeah, for me it is if I have too much focus on this thing I call myself, then I justify being annoyed. I justify being irritable or whatever the word might be. There are other things that I notice that I justify. I justify not being connected to each and every human being in my circle. I have so much them going on, and I think our game, you guys, if we just called it something, would be to create us wherever we are.
Mine's going to fall right into that.
So the thing, though, that I could see last night was my anger and impatience are not permanent, which is the whole like connecting to the energy piece.
Nice.
But I behave like they are. Like whatever is causing that. And so that's where, because I was trying to dissect more into when does the disconnect happen? So along what you were saying. And so my behavior is like, this is always going to be this way. Oh my God, whatever.
Right.
But it's like, it's not permanent. Like all energy, it's moving.
It's moving. So maybe feelings of anger and irritation or annoyance or separation, maybe those could get transformed then, based on what you're saying, into little red flags that remind us to let go of the energy. Maybe those are good signals that say, oh, you're hanging on to something. That's all. Doesn't mean anything else. Like we create a lot of drama around it. And then, like you said, then we perpetuate it. But maybe all it is a little flag that says, oh, you're holding on to something. And that's all it is. It's just an indicator. No different than the alarm clock. You don't want to hear it necessarily, but it does its job.
Yeah.
And then we let go. Perhaps. Very good. Did you see any one thing start to express itself, maybe as a way of being, that would be more expressive of the true self over there, the quantum self. You know, the first exercise we did, and that everybody will do, is we send out the email, we collect characteristics and gifts that we are, and we distinguish what are uniquely ours, like our combination. Then last week, what I shared with you guys is I noticed that those aren't it. They are something. They get us something. Like what they've done for us is it generated a lot of conversation. It generated a lot of insight in looking into something. And I said this past week, see if something else, some way of being doesn't rise out of those three that you can say, that's it. That is the thing that expresses true self over here. No mistake. It is the thing that has me over here, see me over there, and then that creates, of course, in us. Am I putting too much into that, or did y'all get what I'm at? Anybody see anything?
Yeah, and I want to copyright this.
Well, it's recorded. You can do whatever you want. But in the meantime, just do the work. So tell me, what did you notice?
Okay, so first of all, I had the assignment as think of ourselves as our true essence. See it and feel it everywhere.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I emailed it to you and said, think of yourself as the quantum self, the giver and receiver of love. Look around and be a neutral witness to the basic love energy that shapes you and the world around you. See and feel it everywhere. Be accepting, forgiving, and unconditional in your loving kindness. Breathe love in through all your cells and let it pass through you, touching every part and lighting you up. Then send the love on its way, giving it generously. The next one said, practice quantum forgiveness. And lastly, funnel down to one expression of your divine quantum self, your true essence.
Okay. I can't say I practiced all that, all I was aware of, but I did come up with something that's really been liberating.
Yeah.
And so for those of you who don't know, one of my practices, I shared this with Thomas, and we got this in the beginning off of Gerald Japolsky's book. I write down my declarations on 3x5s. And I sometimes I sit in front of the computer with maybe some meditation from YouTube, or I might go for a walk and I generate them. But one thing I realized is in the past I was just reading them. I wasn't taking it on as being them. But what came up for me was, and I don't know where it came from. Maybe it's a connect, like everything's converging.
Yeah.
But I came up with a thought, well, if all this stuff wasn't in my way, who would I be naturally?
That's very good.
And I went to, I remember thinking this, wow, when I was a little kid, naturally we're just loving, we don't make things wrong, and then stuff happens and we interpret it. And all that's made up. It's not the truth. And so I've been practicing, who would I be naturally? So I started writing on the top of let's see if I can find a couple of these here. And I define naturally, not that it's the truth, given by my greater self, highest essence and energy now. Now here's one of my cards. Naturally, I speak and think thoughts that create empowerment and thriving in my life now. And it's easy for me. And I'm finding it's shifting how life, how I create life. And if I'm starting to get present to, if I'm creating life by the words I speak, I'm starting to get present to this. What have I been speaking for the last 10 years? And then I went to naturally, okay, if I was creating this naturally, how would I do this?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I am. And I experienced aliveness all day yesterday, all day today. I had a huge upset midday, but I let it go in like 15 minutes.
Mm.
So for me, it's working.
I like that. I'm just making a few notes here. Yeah, I really, really like that. So, Charlie, if we were able to funnel all of that experience into one way of being, what might it be?
I know this might sound odd, but to me, it's like forgiveness.
Yeah, very good. Okay, got that. Perfect. Thank you. Anything for you, Robert?
Yeah, I'm like way not where Charlie is. Closer to Rosh, I mean, a lot of irritation, impatience, anger. And so I did have the assignments with me. And so funneling down, I went to genuine. So I would hold on to that, thinking of myself as a giver and receiver of love. Man, I did not feel like love at all. None. I mean, sometimes. So I did put my rituals of meditation back in, and I would stick that in the morning. And that was good, but I really noticed it really, I'm looking at the wording right now. That's what I'm looking at. It's like having the assignment, it really shined a light that how much I don't really forgive myself or love myself. It's more like a light was really shining on my not having forgiveness. And I really noticed if I don't have that quantum forgiveness for myself and how my life is, I really don't put it out to anybody else.
Yeah. So what is quantum forgiveness? Do you have the document nearby?
I could search for it.
Search for it, and I want you to read it out loud to everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, I want you to generate it.
Okay, why don't you got to give me a second then.
Of course. Joanne, you want to share something while Robert's hunting that down?
Sure. So I was in that space 2 weeks ago of being annoyed and upset and not thrilled and pissed and wanting to start with a whole new group of friends. You know, I didn't like their input in that, so I kind of got that out of my way. And this week I was dealing with two things. One is I wanted to see how I could really be in the moment that was smaller than the moments I usually take on. So I started visualizing waves at the ocean and how like the wave comes in and the wave goes out. So I started bringing in things that I want and letting go of something when it went out. And what I noticed in my meditation and when I've watched waves, the wave doesn't wait until this wave is done. The wave goes in, the wave goes out. The wave goes in, the wave goes out. So I was trying to make my moments be the size of a wave. That actually opened something up for me.
Yeah.
And I did something this week. Like I was having difficulty treating people at their highest level when I felt like I was just a number. Let's say like at Costco was my example this week I shared with Thomas earlier. And that was that at Costco, you go through the register. You're just another patron going through the register. Here are your groceries, pay, your bag, whatever. So I started playing this game of asking people, if they could have a superpower, what would it be? And that what happened is they started relating to me like I was a person, and I could relate to them. And what they often picked was really quite interesting and opened up who they were, right? So then we'd say, why did you like that superpower? Or then they'd ask me what would my superpower be, or if they can have more than one. But what had me connect with them is I could be my highest self when we were connected, and I didn't feel like I was just on an assembly belt, and I could relate to them like their highest. And I even had the lady at the register go, "You're a kick. I hope I get you in my line again." Like, that felt personal. That felt like I connected. I did some work earlier too, and Thomas did this with me when you were working in my 3 words and up to what they were. And at this point, we're calling it inviting. That feels like who I am. I like people in my space. I tend to draw the best out of people.
Yes. When you are your highest self, you like people in your space, and you're
Yes.
open and you're inviting. Exactly. Beautiful. Thank you, Joanne.
You're welcome.
You found it, Robert?
I found a lot of Is this the one? This forgiveness is distinct from a forgiveness of superiority?
Yeah. And just for future reference, it's also embedded in the design team webpage.
Okay. Is that the right one?
That's the right one. Yeah.
Okay. Get back to that. Okay. And I'll read it.
I want you to generate it like it's your own.
Okay. It is one that isn't logical, but rather ontological. It's a way
So start at the very beginning.
This forgiveness is distinct.
The beginning is quantum forgiveness.
Okay, quantum forgiveness. This forgiveness is distinct from the forgiveness of superiority. It is one that isn't logical, but rather ontological. It is a way of being, a space, if you will.
A space, if you will.
A space, if you will. In this space or state, one can rest and trust in a higher purpose for life, where you can surrender to life unfolding. That is a letting go. Letting go, letting go, a lifestyle versus an act. Consider it this way. Your life purpose is to align with life unfolding, allowing pure love. That is life energy flow through powerfully and naturally in open-heartedness. Love as in who you are and who I am. Shame, blame, guilt, jealousy, envy, upset, anger, frustration, anxiety, to name a few, are all fundamental expressions of fear. That which is a barrier to, a thwart, or stopping to the flow of that energy. The mind is addicted to violence, but at some primal level, it feels good. These expressions of fear are a kind of violence to the spirit, and there is a fundamental addiction to them that one must acknowledge and own. We create an illusion by trying to resist them rather than simply letting them go. Resisting, of course, causing persistence. Forgiveness, as in quantum forgiveness, is the only way to undo the fear and to open the heart to energy flowing freely again. This starts with first forgiving oneself. But keep in mind that this forgiveness is not one part of you forgiving another, but rather a stepping into an already existing forgiveness that one only needs to accept. The key to this is to accept 1, I cannot earn it. 2, I don't deserve it. 3, it is accepted for no reason. Only when I step in can I be that. And when I be that, it is a joy, honor to extend it to others. Forgiveness is more than a generous gift, but rather a wonderful reminder. Our lives is but an opportunity to practice at very high levels this kind of life. It is not the world that is our laboratory, but instead it is our consciousness. Thomas Kuster.
Very good. So now, given what you dealt with this past week, what do you see inside the document for yourself?
The thing that I would have to find the exact words, but is to include it. This is life unfolding. This is...
What is the this?
The feeling of, well, it's not the upset. What was the wording that Rasha had? It's the irritability and the impatience.
Yes, but if you consider irritability as part of life unfolding, what is the irritability connected to that you're calling life?
It's connected to overwhelm. My feeling overwhelmed.
So overwhelmed. So when I am overwhelmed, what is that?
It strikes me as being, it's fear. It's really timeline based.
Okay, it is timeline based and it is fear. I want to distinguish this with you, and I want you to put it in existence.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, Robert, you're now doing more of what you want than what you've done in a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And this little creature, this little overwhelmed creature, will take you out of the game of fulfilling on the things that you want most.
Mm-hmm.
Overwhelm is a lie. Let's start there. It is a lie. It's telling your mind in the matter. It says you cannot possibly do all this.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot possibly succeed. That's overwhelm, and it's just a lie. So if you now take overwhelm and do with it what I suggested earlier, and I'm going to say it again, how about that gets used as a red flag that simply alerts me to, oh, I'm holding on to something. I just need to let go.
Mm-hmm.
Are you following me?
Oh, I am. And I have a question about, not a question,
Yeah.
but an observation,
Yeah.
which is, so I was doing a lot of letting go. And it felt like it just never sticks. So I just am always saying, let go, let it go. And it's just
Perfect.
not avalanches, but it's just like, it just gets so generated that I didn't give up, but I'm just saying, it's like.
Listen to me. Stop for a second.
Yeah.
That's perfect that happened for you, because now you know what resistance actually looks like.
Mm-hmm.
What you did was resist, not let go.
Right.
And that's not a problem. It's a good thing, because now you can see both for what they are. And
Right.
you can tell your mind to quit pretending that resistance is letting go.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I do have
Yeah.
to say something with that, though. I like Robert. So for me, and I know, Thomas, what you're trying to do is to also train us on the language. So I think this is critical for the course. Letting go for me is not a statement that works.
Oh,
But for me, visualizing that this is energy moving reminds me that it is that simple. Because letting go, I always have that visual, like I gotta not feel something, or I gotta stop doing something, like, because that's the break from the action continuing, right?
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, oh wait, irritation, that too is an energy, you know.
Definitely.
Anger, that too is an energy. Versus like it's.
Come back for a second. The irritation, your irritation. What is it connected to?
I want to move faster. I want to get things done.
That's what you let go of.
Yeah.
See, you guys think I'm telling you to let go of the irritation. No, when you already irritated, it's too fucking late. Now you're dealing with something else.
Yep.
I'm trying to tell you, irritation, anger, all those experiences of emotion are connected to something. And the something is what you got to practice letting go of.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So for me then, Thomas, okay, so sorry, Robert, I'm stealing your thunder.
No.
or your moment.
Same thing. Game. Yeah.
Letting go of moving. I'm gonna work through this. So letting go of moving faster. Yes, agreed. And then the other thing I see, because my mind goes to the justification. So I think that's important to put in. That's where the mind goes to the justification. Well, I got to get it done, right? So justification.
Yeah.
Something I heard
About
the other
overwhelm?
day.
Oh,
It's like, so this is what the guy said. Hold space for that anger, pain, hurt, whatever, because the nature of awareness is that it itself is never tainted or harmed. So it was something you had shared, like from Arjuna's whatever work. And it's like, oh, that's the part that always reminds me it's energy. So yes, to stop, to let go of moving faster is the action. But somehow the reminder for me that this too is energy makes me stop and breathe. Like it really does physically.
You know what? Do that and share that with anybody. And like Robert, if that's something that you hear that makes it easier for you, then grab it. I don't know. I will say this, and this is about Robert personally. You have mastered the practice of letting go. And now you're just at a different level of what it is you're going to deal with to let go of. So you've had lots of practice. You've been doing great. So it's not like now you got to learn something new. No, you're just taking it on at a level that's deeper than you did before. And now I want you to start to see there's an actual access to it versus something you're stuck with. And if it makes it easier to have the visual of energy moving, grab it. See, for me, it probably is that way also, but I'm going to tell you how it really lives over here for me. I don't talk to myself about letting go. Almost never. I just do. Let go. And I think that a part of that might have come from Russia creating everything first as energy. So for me, that was part of the work we were doing in the beginning. And when I got to the place where I could start really being with almost everything as energy, like even allowing my eyes to see things that aren't necessarily there, like waves or something, it got very real for me. So it's possible that that's operating in the background and I don't even know it. That visualization.
And I think that's a big part of the quantum shift, though, is that, like, let's stop talking about things as energy. Let's start practicing and living like it is all energy.
That's right. Exactly. Perfect. Well,
that's ontological, right? That's being it.
It is.
Yeah, that is.
Totally that. It's totally that. And, probably when a lot of things come up to do and handle, Robert, or a lot of things come up that get in the way of you doing and handling, that could definitely light the fire for overwhelm, which would then give you the experience of like an emotion of irritation, annoyance, or whatever stuff is for you. Now, the only way, and now I'm talking to everybody, I'm just using you, Robert, the only way that you will ever step into life as I'm distinguishing it is when you and I no longer see the value in trying to change ourselves, each other, or control life. When we no longer see value in that, that is a new fucking life. But right now we have to be honest. We see value in that. We still have a childish view that if I hang on to it, if I chew on it, it's going to change it. It's
right.
A superstition.
Right.
So afraid if we don't do it, it might have worked. So we fucking keep doing it and it never works.
Right.
Crap. It's true though. I see that. I'm not getting what I want, whatever it is. People aren't moving fast enough. It's a not getting what I want. So that's, I think, my sentence. I'm not getting what I want.
So as soon as you no longer see value in
Yeah.
entertaining the story about I never get what I want, or I'm not getting what I want, or whatever, I should get what I want, that is when we'll have a whole new blissful experience of life. And then, of course, it'll lead us to the next thing, praise God. But for now, we want just what's next, that kind of freedom. This past week for me, it's just been, I was telling Charlie, it's just been so transformational for me and subtle. It's like I noticed subtle, and then all of a sudden it seems like, wow, something really big has changed over here where I am.
Mm.
And I really, I was stuck in the three things that we came up with. The qualities and and characteristics that combined our unique gift. I love that, and I want to keep it in, but I want to use it as something that primes the pump to get us to something that actually rings at the level of true self, like it vibrates. So when Joanne and I were working together and she said something about inviting, I heard true self over there vibrating. That's what I heard. I was like, Joanne, that's it. We might massage it. We may come up with a different word for it. We played around. I said, but right now, that is who you are. And when you're not that, you're not happy. And we spend a lot of time trying to get happy, and we don't realize the only reason we're not happy is because we're not being who we are.
I agree with you, but right now it's occurring for me a different way, a little bit differently.
Yeah, tell me.
How it's occurring. So I'm becoming more conscious of my languaging. I'm listening to my conversations, and how that's occurring for me is I'm like my small self is in this conversation. It's creating my world, and I'm living into it like it's the truth.
Oh.
And I'm seeing, no, that's made up.
Yeah.
That's not the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. Well, for me, I came up with, because I was really dealing with those. Like I liked them, energetic, passionate, charismatic. Those are the three that came up for me. But I thought, if I'm energetic, is that really true self getting expressed? I mean, I think true self does use that. It just got me going. I can't take you through the whole process of how my thinking went, but it went and went and went. And I realized that when I connect, listen, you guys, I'm going to say this sloppy because I'm not exactly sure how to express it, but it's generosity. And then I started really looking at that, and I thought, oh, I'm seeing generosity a different way now. And I said to Joanne, I said, I wonder if inviting couldn't also align with generosity. And then it made me wonder if each and every person that we work with in front of the room, if eventually what they come up with doesn't end up as generosity. See, because Charlie, you said what really arose for you was forgiveness. And I really heard that. And now I'm going to circle back around and say, and for you to be that forgiveness, isn't that an extraordinarily generous act?
Well, I think it is, but or I see some people might get caught up in it. Is like, I don't know if in order to expresses it accurately, but I think when we're really, at least my experience, I'm not going to say I think, my experience is that when I'm really in quantum forgiveness, there's this huge freedom where things can flow in and out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Robert.
This happened to me, was it last week or 2 weeks? I think every time that we come back to the quantum forgiveness, if the quantum forgiveness isn't living here, there's no fucking way it's going to live out there. Because it's like, I know, and that comes back to the generosity. If I am not generous with my own mistakes and mistrials and missteps and misdeeds in my own life and just let that go.
Yes.
I have to be generous with my own soul, with my own life, with my own life energy.
I think so.
Let that, because if I'm not generous with me and my own life, it won't live out there.
I want to say something else around forgiveness.
Yeah.
When I'm in that space, I feel like I'm really open, but I recognize when I'm not in that space, it's a constraint and it won't allow anything in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Because when I hear you say that, Charlie, what I hear is that all of us are getting energy sensitive. Do you all remember when we started these conversations for being open-hearted? We had an inkling, we had a thought, a feeling, but now we know. We're so sensitive to energy, moving or not. I mean, I think this is a very big leap, a giant leap. And I'm going to play with generosity as possibly being the thing that everybody pops with, that they can see when they're that kind of generous, the kind of generous that you were saying, Robert, the kind of generous that you were talking about, Charlie, and the kind of generous I'm relating to is like, I'm small self has me move really fast over here, and I think fast, and I move fast, and I've got 1,001 things going on. And just like when we got on here, it's like I expect all of you to have caught up with me, and you're with me, and all that, right? I mean, that's small self dragging me around. So it takes an act of generosity, and I don't mean this in a superior way, but an act of generosity is how true self can get expressed, where I can stop and just be, and just be with you, and just be with the conversation, and just massage and get out of that. And I think, well, if it's that way for me, maybe it's that way for everybody. And then I had the opportunity to be with Joanne last night. We got to distinguish it for her, and it popped. And now we're working on it a little bit here. It seems to get a little bit bigger. And I am, at the moment, thinking that might be a conversation to play with. I do want to come back to you, Rasha, in just a second. Joanne wants to say something, but I want to come back to you because it was actually one of your three. So I want to talk with you about that a little bit. Joanne, you had something?
Well, I was going to share with you, everyone, that you and I really had to pull generosity apart like a quagmire to get to all the different aspects of generosity beyond our limited language of, oh, I donated to so-and-so. That's
right,
not what we were talking about at all. Then one of the things you said to me that I thought is perfect here is, what is in the way of generosity being expressed? I actually, when I ask people,
self-absorption. Go ahead. I forgot about that, Joanne.
Self-concern, yes.
Self-concern, self-absorption is what shuts down the generosity.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd forgotten. But please go ahead. I'm sorry.
In my world, when I ask somebody their superpower, remember I told you, I actually call that my can opener. It's my way to get into the connection.
Yeah, and it works for you. I mean, I know if I go down the supermarket line and I say to the guy, hey, if you had a superpower, what would it be? This would not fly. But I can get it for you. Like, yeah, they'll call the cops. They think I'm trying to pick them up or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, but you, Joanne, I could get it, and I could get most people would get enrolled in the conversation, you know?
Well, what it left me with is, like, I get that, but then next week, another question am I going to have to do? But I got conscious of accessing the energy or the can opener being present.
Well, next week, are you saying like you'll see the same people again, right?
Yes.
You've already broke the ice. You're connected. Now you guys can talk about real things. If you wanted to, I mean. You wouldn't have to have the little shot line every time you go there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a whole new thought.
So, Rasha, one of your three was generosity. So I just kind of want to talk to you as you're hearing this conversation and what I'm pointing to. What do you think, or how does that feel?
It totally resonates, because I was driving into the office thinking about this. I'm like, if you look up the word generous, it has warm-hearted, which I think is one of, it's either
I think it was
Charlie. It has kind. It has, so I'm like, all of our, when I looked at our team, I'm like, it's in there everywhere. So I saw that thread as well. So it's interesting that you brought it up. And it was also when I did Ed's and my mother's, when we were doing people in your life.
Yeah.
It's definitely there. So I think it's an expression, right? It's the giving part of our humanity. It's the part that wants to make a difference. So in Landmark, people they got to like, I want to give a piece of me that makes a difference on this planet. Yeah. And we say that, that expression is when you're in touch with your true self nature, you are naturally that. You're naturally making a difference. You are naturally giving of whatever that flow of energy that you're calling self, but you're naturally giving of that. There's no effort in it.
And it's, and listening with all of you becomes natural.
True. Yes.
Yeah. There's this, and of course, you'd have to be extremely generous to let go of overwhelm.
Yeah.
Because overwhelm really does put a wall up. Because when you are suffering in the world of called overwhelm, a wall goes up, and it's hard for people to get to you, unless we're drinking or smoking dope.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've heard of him, Dr. Rick Hansen. He's a Buddhist and he's a psychologist, and he did this whole talk. I'm going to try to see if I can get the link to you.
Oh, cool.
And he talks about building the foundations of a healthy relationship. So while he's talking relationship, but he really talked about relationship as in relationship, whether that's to your environment, to yourself, to your lover, to your family members, whatever. And he touched on quite a few things, like, the hardwiring of the brain, your animal ancestry, and the nature of awareness. It's always there. It's untainted. It's accessible. It's like, hold it in that untainted space. And it kind of reminded me of this conversation, like, energy is moving. Life is moving. Life is unfolding, right? Energy is constantly moving. And he talked about benevolence, which is what you're calling generosity. And those good wishes of warm-heartedness for yourself and others. And he says,
benevolent?
Rick Hansen. Oh, what he called it, benevolence, like being benevolent. Yeah. And one thing I really liked, and I think this comes up especially in spiritual circles or in these self-awareness groups, like, you have to be grounded in, this is me, like my individuality, in the sense of, this is what I need, like your space, like your space that you're calling, this is my, like, independence, and benevolent, because he said people kind of collapse the two, like, oh, I have to be giving, I have to be caring, like they make it about something out there, versus if you are grounded in this energy, which I think these three qualities can ground us,
Yeah.
then it's natural to be giving. You're never empty. There is no like, oh, I have to love myself in order to that kind of talk. Right? He's like, no, you are, there's inner self-sufficiency, if there's this natural abundance, which I think our three characteristics show us that, they reaffirm that, then there's naturally more to give. When I am generous, when I am kind, when I am caring, there isn't any effort. There's no feeling like, oh, I need to be replenished or that I need to be giving. It's energy's flowing.
Is generosity the expression of true self, quantum
Yes.
self?
Yes.
Is everybody in agreement at this point?
Would you reiterate that, please? Is generosity
Is generosity the expression of true self? The quantum self that we're talking about.
I would say authentic generosity is.
All right. Robert?
I'm thinking about that.
All right. You don't have to have an answer.
Yeah.
You can let it float around and just see what comes up for you, and maybe tomorrow talk about it. Speaking of which, we're going to be together on Saturday, yes? You and I?
Yes.
Okay, so do you want to forego our call tomorrow night and we'll just be together on Saturday?
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay. And then,
I just want to, I'm going to look at calendar. I think I have us down for 3 o'clock-ish.
issue, yeah. Because I'm going to get with Rasha around 1. She and I will probably break up around 3 is what I was thinking, Rasha.
Okay.
Does that sound about right for you? A couple hours?
Yeah, a couple hours. Yeah.
And then I'll go and be with you, Robert, from about 3 to 5 or so. Like that.
Yeah.
Okay, very
Cool.
good. And then by then, Raphael's going to show up on the train, and I'll go to the train station to pick him up, and then I'm driving to Charlie's. I keep saying Charlie, going to Larry's.
I wanted to, this conversation that's been going on, what you said earlier, the word superstition is really sticking out for me because it's almost like I have a superstition that says energetically, like there's not enough. So then, right? So if I let go of that, and it's like there is enough. So my impatience, I didn't want to talk to anybody because they'd ask me what I was doing.
Yeah.
And if they didn't understand what I was doing about video and this, and I had to stop and explain, I was like, and it was like a superstition, as if somehow there just wasn't enough time and there's no way that I could act. Well, what would it take me? A minute, 30 seconds to explain something? But it was like a superstition, I can't slow down. I can't stop.
I know that. I've done it too. I know exactly what you mean. I do want to coach you on something, though. You said, so energetically, it's like there's not enough. Very good. I like that. And then you said, but there is enough. On and on and on, right? Try this on. Like a swing of the pendulum, right? There's not enough, there's not enough. Well, maybe there is enough, but that creates an argument. What if, from a transformational point of view, there just is?
Yeah. Okay.
It's not about there is enough or there's not enough.
Right. It's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So Thomas, I suggest let's not try to box into generosity.
Okay. Yeah. Very good. But you like the word benevolence.
Well, it's not about the word. I think it's about the self-discovery. I like how
Do you think that word embodies what we're trying to express?
I think they both do. I think, but what I'm trying to do is so I'll tell you for myself, I think there's a trap in a thing. Like, because then it becomes the thing we grasp for.
Yeah.
So if we say we all are going to land on generosity, like that is the ultimate self-expression, because look at how much we got lost in, like, what is my purpose? How many years of self-books and, people go after that.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be like, what is my ultimate quality? And I think about, I don't know if in other cultures, but I know in Hinduism and in Islam, there's in Hinduism, there's the 1,000 names of God. In Islam, there's the 100 names of God. And it's all these wonderful qualities. It's kindness and joy and generosity. And it is the expressions of, spirit, but whatever the right word is, awareness, right?
Yeah.
So I think I'm just concerned that people might get stuck if there's a one.
Got it.
I
Yeah.
think I'm in agreement there. It's like to some degree, people are going to be listening from a limitation. Like you talk about generosity, it means this. Actually, it means all this, but I think how they're going to hear it is like a limitation. I don't know that, but I'm just.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. So I'm going to throw a few distinctions out here. And, just consider that we are like a think tank. So we're just thinking stuff and talking stuff and, we're capturing it here and there. But keep in mind that everything we're doing over here is getting funneled into how it's going to show up in our course to cause the end result. And the end result is whatever we're getting, like we're all getting something, right? There's something magically happening for each and every one of us that they get that in a day. That's where I'm thinking from. You don't have to do that work. All you got to do is what we're doing. Self, this thing that I'm calling true self, this is the first distinction. This thing that I'm calling the quantum self, they're all the same thing. You all get that, right?
Yes.
True self has a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You feel the presence of me. Not me like the small self. But remember I said that you've been conscious of your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a you over there. It hasn't aged. Nothing about it's changed at all. And it has a feeling. I never got that before, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
We feel it. We feel that essence. How does the brain do mind? If the brain is in the physical body and the mind is not, how does the brain do mind? We cannot observe the mind in other people, and we can barely observe our own. But you always feel it. Generosity. That's at the source of true essence expressed over here. Is it the same for all? We already had this conversation. We have to distinguish authentic generosity versus giving, sharing, etc. Oh, get this. I don't know if this is going to make any sense or not, but there and not there. This true self, there and not there. It's the knower, but until you know the knower, where is that? Just something to stir you up a little bit. Like self as an object. not me processing, but like looking. The two mysteries are connected, the brain and the mind. Quantum physics and relationships. Get this, you guys. Forgiveness, and I'm always talking about quantum forgiveness unless I say otherwise. The energy at the quantum level. Think about it. Think about the biggest transformations you've ever had. There was some level of quantum forgiveness taking place, either over here for you or it was given, like it was expressed somehow outside of you. And something, like there was a huge shift at the quantum level, right? So a thought that I had, you guys, is doing, I don't know what we'll call it, but hear me out, will you? A transgressions release, like a ceremony. And somehow, I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm thinking somehow people express that which burdens them. That thing or those things that are most in the way of the fullest expression of their true self. And maybe they write them down and put it up, and we put it in a big basket and go outside and burn it together. I don't know, but there's some ritual to it that brings us to the end of the evening, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of let that just float around. I don't know what it looks like just yet, but imagine.
At the DoubleTree, they're going to kick us out forever, Thomas.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying we're going to do that. I'm just saying stuff, But if we start off the day and they're getting in touch with, number one, feeling, number two, false self versus true self and true essence, then we go into the conversation about their three qualities and have them come to the front of the room. They express it. No. They get in their groups and they do the sheet together. Remember the sheet, how does each one get expressed? Like that, because they need something to cause it to bubble up. Then they'll come to the front of the room, and I'm going to work with them, and we're going to get them to a point. I don't know if the point's not generosity, we've got to get to a central point that creates a theme for the rest of the course. Whatever it is, and I don't care at this moment what it is. I just know something's going to pop between the six of us, and we'll have it. But right now, it's just not there. Then it's the last quarter of the day, and they are now becoming face to face with this true essence, and they've got to see clearly everything that's in the way of it. And now we start getting them to put it in existence, and we have a ritual. We have some kind of ritual. That's the only thing. A 15-minute
ceremony.
Ceremony. That was the word I was looking for. Ceremony. Something like that. And I think that's it.
Yeah, I think they should, write it down, but then they can come up and start expressing.
Yes.
Right, because if they write it down, but then the more that people start to come up, they'll start letting go, and people will continue to come up.
Oh, you know what, Charlie? I mean, Charlie, there must be something you and I need to talk about, because I keep calling everybody Charlie now. You know what, Robert? I think you and I had talked about, remember I told you about the getting everybody like a sheet of paper that had blocks on it that they tear apart, and then they come up to the front of the room and stand up high and look down.
Yeah.
From the movie.
Yeah.
and then as they jump down, they speak, I let go of whatever. That could be the same ceremony. It could just be we get them to write down what burdens them, and they come up and they can express one at a time, maybe, or something.
Yeah.
It becomes real when they can speak it to a group versus speaking it to themselves.
It does, but I think usually people need to be given permission to let go that much. And so if they can just write it down, and so there's a safe space, you can just write it down, and we want you to come up and express if you are so inclined and you feel brave to do that. And of course, my experience is more that people willing to do that, then it's like, yeah, I'll go. You know, it's like Catholics do that all the time.
Yeah, truth.
That's how they do the wafer stuff. It's like anybody, and some people go up and everyone's looking around, and then pretty soon everyone's like, yeah, I'm going to go up and be whatever it's called. I'm not a Catholic, but I was just at a mass and I saw them do that, and they always do that.
Yeah.
Holy Communion.
Yeah, communion. It's supposed to be if you have a mortal sin on your soul, you can't have it.
Yeah, or if you're hungry.
Yeah.
That's you and I, Robert.
Those little wafers will make your stomach growl worse than anything else. So,
Oh, crap.
I'm asking that we do the same assignment again this week.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a question. Remember last week we did that meditation? I couldn't find, I used that one, but it exists as just a standalone audio, right?
In Thomas's stuff.
Yeah, it's probably in my stuff. Did I send it to you or no?
I don't think you did.
Yeah.
It spoke to me too, Robert.
It's because at the end it had the part about forgiveness, and that was like really powerful. I was just curious. I couldn't find it. I was sifting through all this stuff.
I don't think you have it.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think you have it.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, go ahead, Rasha. Sorry.
Do you have your what did you call it? I think you called it quantum meditation. You know, the one you had us doing all of. Do you have that written somewhere? Send that to me.
Well,
if you can.
Well, it's not that well written.
He's like, it's in Thomas Scribble. Just bring it with you.
No, it's typed up. It's typed up. I've been moving stuff back into my office and I can't find it. I know it's here somewhere because I have a whole binder that's nothing but my meditations. They're all written out except for the one I did with y'all last week. It's not written out. But all the rest of them are written out.
I really like your background of the trees and that.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah, it's very calming, and sometimes the little white polka dots distract me.
Oh.
On the gray surface. So I kind of like the trees.
And Joanne, you're the best.
Can I share something here?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna generate a couple of my cards.
Yes.
And because I can feel it when I say it. And you're going to see a contrast here, I believe. I allow and accept aliveness into my life now.
Mm-hmm.
That froze you.
Is that what that looks like when you're alive?
It was powerful, man. That was it.
I don't want that.
We can only handle one per section. You froze, Charlie. I don't know if you can hear us.
Yeah. That really frozen.
I cause feelings of clarity. I'm sorry.
Buddy.
Yeah, I get it.
You froze the whole time. We want to hear it. And now he's frozen again. I don't understand it. That never happens with him. All right, well, with that, we've managed to stay at an hour, so thank you. Well, a little bit more, okay.
Yes, sir.
We're getting better.
Cool. All right.
Hey, I love you, thank you. Rasha, I'll see you around 1.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Do me a favor, Thomas. That outline, like how you had your thoughts of the sequence of stuff. Do you have that typed or written somewhere that you can send to me prior? Take a picture of it and send it to me.
No, I just made it up while I was talking to you.
Damn it! Didn't write all of it.
It exists as a recording, so.
Yeah, it is.
That's true. Good. All right.
All right, bye, guys.
Go to the.
Good night, you guys.
Good.
Bye. Yes, go ahead.
Thomas, can you stop recording? I want to say something to you.
Yeah.